The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome back to another episode at the Icons of Real Estate podcast. Now, today I'm excited to introduce Mr. Jordan Ray, a dynamic real estate professional with EXP Realty who brings a wealth of experience and dedication to the table. Now, with a strong focus on serving investors, sellers, and military clients, Jordan's expertise spans a broad spectrum of real estate needs. Beyond his role as an agent, Jordan is also a real estate investor, offering invaluable insights from his own first-hand experiences. Adding to his impressive resume, Jordan serves as a staff sergeant in the Tennessee Army National Guard, exemplifying discipline, leadership, and commitment to service. With an active presence on LinkedIn, Facebook, and his EXP Realty website, Jordan is dedicated to empowering clients to achieve their real estate goals. Guys, get ready to dive into his journey, his strategies, and his unique perspective he brings to the industry. Guys, put your hands together and welcome Mr. Jordan Ray. How are you doing, buddy? You okay?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
No, tremendous. Amen. Thank you for your service. We're going to dive straight in and spare no details. Just going back to, say, the start of what actually drew you into the real estate field, can you share with us what inspired you to transition into real estate and how your experience as a real estate investor has influenced your approach to working with clients?
It's actually a really kind of funny story. I've got my hands in a few different uh, industries before I
Mhm.
found real estate. Obviously, military. I've been in the military for 9 years now, and that kind of has carried my journey. But as I was serving in the military, I currently have a position in the military called truck driver, which motor transport operator, 88 Mike. Some people might know it as the Army MOS.
Mhm.
And as an Army 88 Mike, I also drove trucks for a living as a civilian truck driver.
Mhm.
One of the things while I was driving trucks was I used to listen to real estate podcasts,
Mhm.
and I would listen to Bigger Pockets. And then I got inspired to buy my first rental property, and uh, and I just, actually my first property was a turnkey investment,
Mhm.
and I actually made a whopping $700 in cash flow every month. That's after my
Okay.
mortgage payment, and I almost had no expenses on the property. It was
Nice.
perfect. And I just enjoyed it, wanted to do it again. But I was a little bit strapped for cash because of the way that I had got into. I actually pulled out a HELOC on my house and
Okay.
used that as a down payment, and so wanted to kind of broaden my strategies, and so dug in more as a real estate investor, just
Mhm.
expanded my knowledge. And then I got to a point where I got so obsessed with learning and learning real estate investments that I was like, well, how can I do real estate full time?
Most definitely. Okay.
So I got to a point where after driving trucks and having long 14-hour days of
Mhm.
delivering loads, I got to a point where I was just sick of it. And I actually
Mhm.
walked into work one day and I gave them my keys and everything. And I said, I'm going full time into real estate. And I had no license, nothing. I just quit, all of a sudden out of nowhere. And my wife thought I was crazy. And of course, with a lot of conversation with my wife about making this decision, she was on board with it. So I'm like, if she's as crazy as me, I'm about to jump into it. So I did. I actually spent the first month or so as a obviously with no job, just going through the real estate course and just
Mhm.
trying to finish that up so that way I can take my licensing course to get my
Okay.
license. Then once I got my license, it was just kind of go from there. I do want to backtrack a little bit though, because some of my I have some other experience as
Hmm.
a in real estate before I got my license. I actually wholesaled for a little while, and I
Okay.
did some wholesale deals, and that actually is where I got most of my experience with working with investors because I was trying to assign deals and trying to understand how real investors. I only had one property. I wouldn't consider myself a real investor at the time. Real investors were, getting their deals and how they were, running the numbers and that sort of thing. And I mean, I was in the streets going to the nastiest properties,
Mm.
trying to just wholesale and get a nice check as a side hustle. And I was doing that as a truck driver. And so that kind of led into this, but getting my real estate license, I already knew what to do, and one of the things that I focus on is calling expireds, and
Hmm.
so call expireds, and then my out of state investors they come from bigger pockets. I do a lot of chatting on the forums and the bigger pockets
Hmm.
website and as far as military goes, that's kind of like I would call that more sphere of influence
Hmm.
because most of my sphere is military. And I did get recently involved in an organization locally in the Memphis area called
Okay.
the Irreverent Warriors, and I've sponsored it as an agent. And so, people, of course, they're reaching out, and I've done quite a few deals that way this year
Most definitely.
for military. That's where I get my all my veteran business. And so, those are kind of like my three things. And I heard a saying one time, obviously, riches are in the niches. So I really focus on those three. I don't really do first time home buyers. I know a lot of people do those when they are a real estate agent. But for me, I don't work with first time home buyers. I refer them out unless there's somebody that's family.
Hmm.
And I refer them out, and I just focus strictly on making sure that I'm building my listing business. I'm providing a good product for out of state investors because they're going to bring me, and they have been bringing me repeat business. I would say over half of my business this year has been doing investment deals with
Right.
out of state investors, and then obviously focus on the military as well because I'll bend over backwards to help another veteran, a fellow veteran, get into a home with his VA home loan. So
Amen. Amen. No, most definitely. It's a very, very intriguing story, and you've actually walked the walk. Instead of just becoming an agent first, you've put your money down and learned the ins and outs of being an investor before you jumped into the realty side of it, where you can actually serve your clients better. But instead of just first-time home buyers, you specialize in working with investors, sellers, and military clients. What unique challenges and opportunities do you see in serving these particular groups, and how would you tailor your strategies to meet their needs?
how would I tailor what?
Your strategies to meet their needs of these groups,
Okay,
investors,
gotcha.
sellers, and military clients. Hmm.
So one thing I could say about investors is that they're a lot of work.
Hmm.
Uh, I've actually this past year, I've done about 5.2 million in volume with an average sales price about
Hmm.
just a little over 100K. I'm about 130, 150K, somewhere around in there
Hmm.
is the average sales price, and comes out to about without doing the math, I want to say I sold about 50 houses or
Hmm.
so, and with all
Wow.
that I was
Yeah.
working a lot of hours, and about 30 deals didn't close. And so investors are a lot of work. So if I would have
Hmm.
closed all 30 of those deals, I'd be sitting at 80 sales this past year. But
Most
and
definitely.
so that kind of that's the really the main challenge of working with investors. And so it takes a lot of grit. People will say, "Oh yeah, I'll work with an investor," but
Hmm.
all they really want to do is write an offer for the
Hmm.
investor and get a quick sale and not have to do anything. They like the easy work that it looks like, but it's
Hmm.
not. It's not easy.
So with
Uh,
the, sorry to introduce, so with the investors, in regards to the 30 deals that didn't go through, was that their liquidity problem? Because I know you work with a lot of cash buyers too. Who runs the numbers? Do you present the opportunity and run the numbers first? Yeah, what was the contributing factors for the sales to be dropped out?
so the main factor for that is just a lot of homes in Memphis are really old,
Okay.
and you'll get in there and sellers are asking an arm and a leg for them. It's actually
Hmm.
very common. You can go on to, like Zillow and look at Memphis, and you'll see a lot of homes listed with like one picture, and you can't see them because they got tenants in them and that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
so, and this kind of explains some of the work that comes with it. But when we go under contract
Hmm.
with a property with a tenant in there, we've made an offer sight unseen, but we're doing our inspections. We're getting in there, and I'm actually showing up to the property with the inspector. And while
Hmm.
the inspector is inspecting the property, I'm usually talking to the tenants and asking them questions about the management and, asking them about repairs that they, you know, uh, probably need on the house. 'Cause they're going to tell me. The seller won't tell me, but they're going to tell me, And so I find it very easy to get that kind of information from tenants, but that's a lot of legwork, and these tenants are always in different situations. I've been in one house one time where it was a Section 8 tenant, and
Hmm.
they had probably like 10 kids, and so you got 10 kids running around you while you're trying to walk the property.
Wow.
And so they can be crazy situations compared to, your typical inspection with a
Most
retail buyer
definitely.
where you're just showing up at the house and the inspector, he's inspecting it, it's vacant. Usually the homeowners aren't home. And so it's a whole lot different, But yeah, like I was saying, a lot of those deals have fallen through just because they're older homes. Sellers are asking too much. When you get inside, you discover those things, and
Yeah.
the numbers end up not working out after that.
No, most definitely. And just some unique challenges in regards to military clients and maybe opportunities as well. Yeah, what have you analyzed in just serving these groups? I know you have the sphere of influence with the military clients. Do you find that having that sphere of influence, you being in the military, has serviced you better, or?
Yeah, yeah, because one thing about serving in the military is it's a different kind of connection you can't really get in the civilian world. I mean, you're really in a diverse community, and people are, forced to come together and they put on the same uniform. With
Hmm.
all that being said, everybody comes from different backgrounds. So you discover people in so many different backgrounds, and when people see that you're, succeeding in real estate, they may either want to use your services to buy a house, or they may want to become agents themselves. And so I get a lot of that out of it. People were like, "Hey, Jordan Ray sells houses. Go buy with him." And so, um, that'll be pretty much how that gets started.
So just balancing the roles as a staff sergeant in the Tennessee Army National Guard, um, and as a real estate agent professional, how do you balance these demanding roles, and what skills from the military have you translated into your real estate career?
So, as far as a balance goes, one thing I've discovered about being an entrepreneur is there's
Hmm.
no balance at all. So when you
Let's
realize
go.
that,
Uh-huh.
that's when things get a little easier
Hmm.
because you just accept it. I mean, last night I was working till like 1:30 in the morning,
Hmm.
and other nights I might go to bed at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever. There'll be entire days where, my family is wanting to hang out, but I have things that are urgent, they got to get done, and
Hmm.
I'm working. And obviously it comes with a sacrifice, and comes with having for me, being married, I gotta have a wife with a strong backbone, and my kid that understands.
Hmm.
And obviously still taking the time to spend with them. But uh, with that being said, there was a second part to your question. I forgot.
what skills from the military have you translated into your real estate career?
That's right. Okay. So the skills that I've taken out of it is, one thing about in the military, you have to
Hmm.
follow things, and you have to pay attention to details. And so you also have to be prompt with things,
Hmm.
and if you're not, in the military, you just don't make it. And
Hmm.
so sometimes I find myself a little extreme when it comes to doing certain things, just because I'm military grounded.
Hmm.
For example, like uh, maybe I have I've got this mentality from the military. It's like do it now so you don't have to do it later.
Hmm.
Because I get so tired of the hurry up and wait thing.
Yeah.
But it's instilled in me. So like I'm hurrying up to get things done.
Mhm.
and then I might have more tasks after that. So I'm always thinking that I'm going to do more,
Mhm.
and that I'm going to have less to do later. But I end up always having to do more, and so that is a challenge that I have. But
Most
it's
definitely.
also helped me drive my success, and
Mhm.
that's why I continue to. I'm always productive, and I don't really take very many breaks. And it might sound extreme to somebody, but I that's just kind of where I'm at.
Success loves speed. Success loves getting things done. It's either going to be you start one day or day one. If you get kicked the can down the road, you're going to run into that can later on. So do as
Yep.
much as you can now. We have a panic monster that initially is our alarm bells in our head where it's telling us that get this done, get this done, get this done. And you need to make that your best friend initially. And I love it.
Yeah.
Um, just for, say, investors getting into the market, or for those looking to start in not first time home buyers, because I know you refer them out, but for those looking to start in real estate investing, what are some
Mhm.
key steps or pitfalls to watch out for based on your experience?
Yeah, so one common thing that I see a lot of new investors doing is they get into the market and they're all excited about all the returns they're seeing. Obviously they're looking at things from a face value, but when they start getting down into the grits of it, one thing people don't understand is two things. The first thing is that real estate investing is very active. It's only passive once you have the property and there's a tenant in it, and
And
then
you
the
have a
money.
management company. Yeah, yeah,
And even then, it's still not really passive.
yeah. Yeah.
But that's the most active part of this is acquisition.
Hmm.
With that being said, a lot of people get stuck on numbers. Let's say a property is listed at 100K, but your numbers only work if you bought it at 80K. A lot
Hmm.
of people will pass on it because they're like, well, I can't buy it at 100K. And I'm constantly telling them, it's like, you go to Kroger, the milk is, for example, $2. You
Hmm.
can't make an offer at $1, on that Kroger milk. That's a shelf price. Real
Hmm.
estate doesn't have shelf prices. You just make the offer, and you never know what the seller is going to take. And so, uh, more commonly than not, the MLS is used uh, to help a seller get more for their money. And
Hmm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be listed appropriately. It's not going to be priced appropriately.
Most
So you have
definitely.
to show the seller how much it's worth.
Hmm. Do the valuation. Look at the ceiling prices on the road. If you're buying with cash, then you're actually leveraging yourself even more. You're not having to
Mhm.
wait for acceptance from finance companies, delays in payments. You could just have the cash in the bank, and because you can complete on the property much quicker, they're more than likely to take the offer. But no, most definitely the money you make in property is where you buy, the level of buy, and that's the most active part. Um, just moving forward into in regards to your client success stories, could you share whether it would be helping an investor, helping a seller, or someone at the National Guard? Can you share a memorable success story where you helped a client achieve their real estate goals, whether it was a military family finding their dream home or an investor closing a profitable deal?
Yeah, I actually would actually go back to talking about those 30 deals that fell through.
Hmm.
About four of them were one client,
Okay.
and he was. I mean, we looked at different strategies. He looked at
Hmm.
turnkey. He looked at doing some flips.
Hmm.
We get into some neighborhoods where, um, you know, the numbers kind of make sense, but when you get into the property, they didn't. And after about four of these deals falling apart, the client was, he's about ready to give up on Memphis investing.
Hmm.
He was, he just was ready to give up, obviously. After four properties, it's like, hey, this is probably not for me. He's already spent all this money on inspections and that sort of thing. He was just ready to give up. Well, I actually was able to, due to my experience with working with sellers as well, I
Hmm.
got him an off-market duplex
Okay.
for 190K. It was turnkey, and both sides were rented out for about 1490. So that comes out to about almost 3 grand a month.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, almost 3 grand a month in gross rents. And so, when he bought that property, he paid cash for it.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a really nice return on that property. And I still send him messages and
No,
I'm like,
most
hey man,
definitely.
that
What?
duplex was a good deal a few months ago. How's it doing? And they're still excited about it. He actually texted me the other day and he said, man, I'm ready to buy another in January. Hit me up. I said, I will. So that's just, one of many, obviously.
No, that's over 20, well, nearly nearing 20% ROI per annum, which is amazing. Very, very good, to be honest. Um, where can I get my hands on one of this? Jordan, we're going to be reaching out to you most definitely. This is the start of a good venture, but in regards to the audience as well. Um, very, very good success story. I love that. Just moving forward to what you're looking to do in the future. Where do you go from here, and what are your goals, buddy?
So for me from here, I actually don't plan to be a real estate agent forever. I would like to do this for a few years, maybe 5 years at most, and then eventually, I think I'll always have my license, but eventually I want to bring my focus back on building my rental property portfolio because that
Mhm.
was the original goal here, was to build on that. And so, obviously, with my sales experience selling houses, I think at some point I'll probably end up building a team that
Mhm.
will just kind of take it from there. And then, I'll just guide the team and work where I need to, but it'll be more a thing where I could focus on investment property. So that's kind of where I would say over the next 10 years, that's kind of where I'm heading.
Well, God bless you, God bless America, and God bless your goals moving forward. Um, yeah, amen to that. We've got one last fun question for you now. Here at the Icons of Real Estate podcast, we're the number one real estate podcast network, and we're truly passionate about making podcasting accessible to all. But the fun question is, Jordan, if you had your own podcast, what would you call it?
Uh, well, it's funny because the idea of a podcast sounds nice, but there are some of my competitors that also do podcasts, and I
Okay.
feel like you know, and no offense to you at all, but
No,
I
no, no.
feel like those competitors are probably filling their podcasts with a bunch of unneeded information just to have a
Mm.
podcast show. And so, if I was and to go back on your question, I was just giving you my opinion on
Yeah,
real
yeah,
estate
yeah, yeah, yeah.
podcast. Uh, if I had a podcast, I would probably, man, I don't know what I would call it. I don't know, the Jordan Ray Show.
We'll make it happen. We'll make
It's
it happen.
generic, but hey,
Yeah,
it worked.
the Jordan Way show. I'll be plugging in most definitely. You have a voice that can be heard and loads of information. Well, where our education system is completely outdated, people need education that we have to offer. Just in regards to our audience, how can our audience reach you, Jordan?
One of my, I actually just you mentioned that I have a LinkedIn. I actually just got the LinkedIn. I'm trying to build my connections on there. I don't know what the urge was for getting a LinkedIn account, but y'all can find me on LinkedIn, and Facebook. My Facebook business page has a long name. But if you can look up Jordan Ray EXP Realty on Google, I'm
Most
sure it'll
definitely.
all pop right up. So.
Got you. Got you, got you, got you. I've also just followed you on LinkedIn and will
Okay.
attach all of your content below so they can reach out. But no, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Um, yeah,
Thanks for
Ethan
having me.
Thomas and Jordan Ray, over and out. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye
All
bye.
right. See you later.